The gate was 4.28 million, the arena record. The attendance was 17,208. The fight of the night was Dober and Rydell, and performance of the night was Moreno and Craig. They all won $50,000. And if you can believe this one, because I can't fucking believe it, Jamal Hill's arm was not broken. It was dislocated. They popped it back in, and he has full range of motion, and the guy's okay. That's nuts.
That's crazy. Are you going to cut Terrence McKinney a check? 7 seconds in debut.
Yeah. We will, yeah. You know, when you go back there and you got to look at this shit and pick, you know, we picked Paul because, you know, Jamal's 8-0. You know, it's hard to pick. But yes, we'll take care of that kid.
Nice. I guess to start just with the Jamal Hill, Paul Craig thing, I'm not to set you up to bang on the commission or anything, but did that frustrate you a little bit?
If you don't know a guy's arm is broken.
Or not broken.
You know, yeah. Look, bro, when an arm is flopping around like this and going both ways, you should probably stop the fight. Yeah.
Can you file anything with the commission or say anything?
No, listen. Arizona has been very, very good to us. I don't want to shit on Arizona after they've been so good to us, but that's a rough one, yeah. The guys, I heard,
he's a local ref. He does that a lot.
He's a local ref. I heard this guy's a jiu-jitsu black belt. Is that true?
Yeah, sure is.
Yeah. He's a bad local ref. Like, he's consistent.
He's what?
He's bad.
If you go to a local fight and he's reffing, you know something's going to happen.
Oh, really? Oh, he's the Arizona Mazzagatti?
100%.
Okay. It makes sense then.
On to the better things. Israel Adesanya, I mean, seemed like a return to vintage form. Looked fantastic. What did you think about his performance this evening?
Who?
Israel Adesanya.
Yeah. No, Israel. Listen, Vittori is a tank, man. This guy is so tough, durable. The amount of leg kicks he took tonight and never buckled, never limped, never. He's tough as nails, and he was in there with a much better athlete tonight. And when you look at Adesanya's game, think about Adesanya was a kickboxer. You look at his takedown defense now. When he's on the fence, when he's in the middle of the octagon, when he gets taken down, how he's able to spring right back up, and it's almost like he gets better every time. Obviously, when you come in and you have the energy, and now most of you have been with me in Jacksonville, Houston, and Arizona, right? Arizona wins. I mean, Arizona, the first two were nuts, but this was like next level. And people were just like begging for anything to happen just to go crazy. And, you want that in your main event, but it was a tough fight.
Yeah. He called for Robert Whittaker. Robert Whittaker called for him. Clearly the fight to make right now. That's
the other thing I love about Adesanya. Adesanya, before this fight happened, maybe it was 2 or 3 days ago, we got the word that I want to fight again in October. It's like as soon as he hadn't even fought yet, and this kid's already talking about his next fight. I love that. Adesanya has become a very badass champion for us, So yeah, we'll figure out him and Whittaker ASAP.
Do you have any idea if October's possible to fight down there? Or?
I don't know. We got a lot of. Probably, you talking about New Zealand or Australia? I would highly doubt it. That's like asking if we can go to Canada in October. I mean, they're pretty much in the same boat.
Brandon Moreno, give your thoughts on his performance. Obviously, an impressive win for him tonight.
Yeah, I'm going to be brutally honest with you. So, going into this fight, I didn't see how Moreno wins this fight. Figueiredo is a savage. And I thought the first fight was going to be, the second fight was going to be much different than the first, right? And I was right, but I was wrong. Good for him. Incredible performance tonight. He looked like, Figueiredo looked like he couldn't get off. He looked like he was slow. Moreno made it look easy, man. Yeah. And he's the first ever Mexican-born champion for the UFC, so good for him.
Would you try to fight? I don't know the situation in Mexico. Could you try to go to Mexico anytime soon with him, or
I don't know. Sitting right here, right now, I have no idea, and we'll see. We'll see how this stuff plays out the rest of the year.
Nice. Last couple ones. Leon, obviously a great performance by him. Almost stolen away from him by Nate in the very end there. But what did you think of Leon Edwards' performance?
I thought, for first of all, you've been hearing me saying leading up to this fight, Leon Edwards, the kid with the worst luck ever in UFC history, goes in tonight in a 5-round fight and against a tough, durable Nate Diaz, who's always dangerous. And tonight was a great learning experience for him. And, he looked incredible the entire fight, even when he got hurt. Kept his composure, and, I think it was a little bit of he got stung and he was tired. When you think about it, that kid hasn't fought in, a year and a half, probably 2. So, great performance.
So is Leon Edwards or Colby Covington the number 1 contender right now?
Colby.
Colby's still number 1. Okay. Last thing for me, Demian Maia came into tonight, said maybe it'd be his last fight. He'd see how it goes. He'd talk to you, maybe one more. Obviously, he's a legend, so I'm not trying to shut the door on him. But after seeing tonight, do you think that was his last fight, or would you like to see one more?
I do. I think that was his last fight. It was the last fight in his deal. He's 44 years old. He's been so good at getting in there, securing the takedown, getting on top of people and just strangling them, or grabbing something and twisting it until you quit. And he couldn't get it done tonight. And he's 44 years old. He's a great guy. He's had a great career. And yes, I would say that's probably it.
Dana, do you think Israel's starting to reach like that Anderson level where he's making opponents freeze in there? It looks like Paulo Costa, Vittori, they sort of after a while don't know what to do with him as he sort of starts to chop away at them.
What was the question?
Is Israel starting to become like Anderson, where his aura is almost psyching his opponents out when they get in there?
We were talking tonight, his feint game is off the charts, and, he looks better every time he fights. And then the thing that this guy's been an outstanding kickboxer his whole life, but what I'm really impressed in is his wrestling, You got to imagine that Team Vittori worked a lot on getting him against the fence, taking him down, getting on top of him, roughing him up, and they literally couldn't do it tonight. So he got into a position where he couldn't take him down and he couldn't stand with him. Everywhere he went was a bad place for Vittori tonight.
It's been said before that flyweights are sometimes harder to market, but do you think Moreno can be a star for you guys in Mexico?
I think he is already. Winning the title tonight and being the first ever. Yeah, I think that's it. I think we're on our way with that kid. Now he's in a place where he's got to win. This kid starts rattling off title defenses, and holy shit, yeah, I bet we got a big one.
Do you think anything Figueiredo's performance tonight is in that weight cut continues to be harder for him? He weighed in with 1 minute left. Do you think that's an issue for him still?
Has to be.
Yeah.
Has to be. The guy's an absolute savage, and he hasn't been in his last 2 fights.
Right. Lauren Murphy, she won again tonight. Again, she came back here.
Again, I don't want to take anything away from Moreno either. Moreno looked great, but
is Lauren Murphy next for Valentina?
Is there a what?
Lauren Murphy, is she next for a title shot?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay. What do you think you do with Nate now? Because while he lost every round until the final one, he still was able to nearly put a title contender away late on in the fight. Where do you think he stands in the division? Where do you see Nate? What's next for Nate?
I don't know. I don't know.
Is he just a guy you slot into fun fights at this point?
He's a fan favorite. People love him, win, lose, or draw. And I don't know. We'll see what's next.
Is it a little bit unbelievable he can still take the punishment?
Yeah. I mean, the punishment his leg was done in the first round. He went 5 rounds and took a lot more leg kicks, bleeding out both sides of his head. One was squirting this way, one was squirting this way. And he was still, doing what the Diaz brothers do. He was working the whole fight to get into, his head and try to make him make a mistake. And then he eventually caught him in the 5th round. He's unbelievable. He's going to be asking us for a 6-round fight next time.
Dana here. What's up, buddy?
What's up, buddy?
Since Leon's not the number 1 contender, do you put him with Jorge so we can find out who's the real 3-piece of the soda on the side?
Put who with Jorge?
Leon.
Who? Leon?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's always a fight we can make. I mean, that fight's always going to be hanging out there. I think Leon tonight. I mean, Leon's the number 3 ranked guy in the world. So we'll see what's next for him. I'm not sure if it's Masvidal, but Colby Covington is the next guy in line for the title. So we'll see what happens.
I know Brandon just got the belt. Who would be next for him? You thought about that? It's way too early for that.
Who'd be next for who?
Brandon Moreno. Who would be his first title
I don't know.
defense?
Guys, you guys know I don't make fights tonight. I don't know.
You talked about how Itchy's improved as a wrestler. There's a trip you out there. He's kind of getting to like my guy up front said, basically making him like Anderson, but kind of like John. He turned into a sparring session on a pay-per-view.
Who? Adesanya?
Yeah.
Yeah. Adesanya looks unbelievable, man. He gets better every time he goes in there, and he is definitely, without a doubt, the king of that division right now.
And since I haven't talked to you in a couple of weeks, I got to ask you. I never nobody asked you this week. Did you watch Floyd and them and all that craziness last week?
Did I talk to Floyd?
No, did you watch? Did you watch Floyd? Paul?
No. I talked to Floyd, but I didn't watch Floyd. Yeah.
What do you think about the million buys? Because the Paul brothers had your name in their mouth last week. I was down there in Miami. They said that tell your man Dana that they don't do these type of numbers. I'm just a messenger. Don't
Who
get mad
said
at me.
tell your man Dana this?
Jake them after the fight.
Jake?
Yeah.
Jake? The other brother?
Yeah. Because
He didn't do $1 million. His brother did $1 million. Him and Floyd did $1 million. So, last time we had a press conference, I told you all the Triller stuff is a bunch of bullshit.
I said nothing about
They're
you.
lying. The numbers aren't. Those guys really did that number. That's a real number. They did that. Jake didn't do that. Logan and Floyd did. And good for them. That's a real number. They really did that, and good for them.
And keeping it with the Paul brothers, Jake's fighting Tyron, as you know, and Tyron's telling people this is his biggest payday ever. The best thing for him was getting cut by the UFC because he's about to make his biggest payday ever to fight a YouTuber.
I've been hearing that bullshit forever. I've been hearing that. They're all full of shit. What's he making? Exactly. If that's that much money and he's so fucking proud of how much it is, how much is it? They're all full of shit. But that's how you hype up a fight, too. You know what I mean? I keep not wanting to do this. And Tyron Woodley's 40 years old. Okay? He hasn't won a fight in 3 years. In something that he's actually supposed to be good at. And now he's going to go box. How do you sell that fight? Lots of other things other than the shit that should matter. I'm making millions of dollars, and this is the biggest payday ever, and Jake Paul will say mean things about me, and pay your fighters, and fucking, and you guys just fucking get right into it and love it. It's all bullshit. It's all a bunch of bullshit.
And final question for me. You said Lauren's not the number 1 contender, so who would be? Because Valentina's basically cleaned out the division, and she's one person she has not fought in the top 5.
Who?
Lauren Murphy.
Yeah.
Well, you said she wouldn't get the shot for Valentina. You said you hadn't decided that. Who else would Valentina fight? She's fought everybody else in the top 5.
Probably. I just don't want to say yes tonight because Tuesday will be a matchmaking meeting, and we'll start looking at what's next for everybody.
Dana,
And Valentina. If Valentina will fight fucking tomorrow, if we called her tonight, she'd show up and fight. So I would imagine that would happen. I'm just not committing to it. Yeah.
what'd you talk with Floyd about?
About that fight, just the success of the fight, and I didn't get that number from Floyd. I got that number from real people. It's real. They really did it. You know me. I'll fucking tell you the truth. The fight before that didn't do jack shit. Well, I shouldn't say that. It did a good number for people that never really fought. You know what I mean? But this one did a real number.
Was there any, during the Nate Leon fight, was there any part of you that was afraid that they would stop the fight again for the cuts on Nate's forehead?
Did I think they were going to stop?
Was there any part of you that thought they might have to stop the fight?
No.
Francis Ngannou and Nick Diaz were in the building for this. Were there any updates on their next fights?
No. Thanks. Anybody else?
Dana, with the world opening back up, how important is it for you to have dependable stars like Izzy and Marina that can sell fights and be dependable? Yeah, with the world opening up and people wanting to go to live events, how important is it to have marketable stars like Israel and Moreno to fight?
Yeah, how important is it to have marketable stars like Adesanya and Moreno as the world starts opening up?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's always important. Even if we're still in the bubble, it's important to have guys that are stars. But as the, when you think about a week ago, which we haven't done in a while, but we could go like right to Mexico City with a fight, and just a lot more options when you have guys from these certain parts of the world that I think have that type of drawing power.
Hey, Dana.
Yep.
Just want to get your thoughts on Movsar Evloev, 15-0, 5-0 now in the UFC. He's quietly taking names. Where do you want to see him next? He's adamant on a top 10 opponent.
Who did you say?
Movsar.
Yeah. I don't know. Again, Tuesday, Schmo. We'll take a look at that stuff on Tuesday.
Francis Ngannou recently told TMZ he still wants that John Jones fight. Is the door still open for us to see a John Jones fighting Francis Ngannou next, or are you adamant that Derek Lewis is next in line?
Derek Lewis is getting that fight, yeah. It's Derek Lewis's fight. And then, John Jones, hopefully by then, will be ready for the winner.
Hey,
Dana?
down to your right over here, Dana. To your right. This right. Yeah,
Hey.
I gotcha. Brandon Moreno, were you surprised about the reaction that Moreno got this week in Phoenix? I mean, he got a similar reaction to like an Adesanya or a Diaz, who are much bigger stars, one would think, but he was extremely popular here in Phoenix.
No, he's Mexican. We're deep in Arizona. Doesn't surprise me at all. You want to know what surprises me? I'll tell you what surprises me. Any of you know anything about fighting over the last 20, 30 years, if it's very important what location you picked for your fight. What's his name was here tonight, the legend. Huh? Michael Carbajal, thank you, sir. The fucking legend. So Michael Carbajal's a great example. If I had Michael Carbajal back in the day, I'd have to fight Michael Carbajal here, in Las Vegas, maybe Atlantic City, I could get away with it too, right? That's it. Very few other places you could go fight and pull a big gate and do. I came to Arizona with an African who grew up in New Zealand and an Italian. They were the main event. Okay? And look at we shattered the gate record here, right? So no, I'm not surprised at all that people here love Moreno. I'm actually surprised that they loved Adesanya and Vettori, to be honest with you.
Do you think that Moreno could be a guy that could headline events on his own in certain cities in the United States? Not even just Mexico, but also some cities in the United States.
Do I think Moreno could?
Moreno could be a headline in some cities.
I was just saying I could go to Mexico City.
I'm saying in the United States even, like a Phoenix or a Southern
Oh, yeah,
California.
yeah. You just you picked the right markets. And
Yeah.
plus, I mean, you know how our fans are, man. After the two fights that this kid's just had and winning tonight, I had an African who grew up in New Zealand tonight and an Italian. I could probably do this kid in the middle of Idaho or Iowa, and people would want to see him fight again. It's not like that anymore. It's not the way that it was with our business like it is in boxing.
And about Mexico City, they're not full capacity yet. Still limited capacity for there.
So you know what that means. I won't be there.
Right. Gotta wait.
Dana?
Thanks, Dana.
Yep, go ahead. I'll get you next, sir.
You mentioned the bubble, and then you also talked about how lit it was out there tonight. The energy was off the charts. You did the same in Houston and in Florida. You seem to be leading the way with UFC to open up the whole country. Do you think much about that, the impact you're having outside of your business that you're running here?
Not really. Through this whole thing, when it started and when we started getting ready to go to full capacity places again, I'm just thinking about my own little world, man, the people that I have to take care of and what I need to do, not everybody else.
That probably tells me the answer to the next question, too, but you've created an environment of free expression that isn't happening in other sports. People can say what they believe. We got everything you can imagine when we see these fights from people all over the world. You seem to be saving the First Amendment here in the United States. I mean, is it too much to say the UFC is leading the way on restoring the Constitution here in our own country?
It's what I love about the sport. You know what I mean? This is the fight game. We live in a world right now let me just put it this way. Everybody's very sensitive these days about everything. This is a sport where we say mean things to each other sometimes, and then we go in and we beat the shit out of each other to see who's going to win. So through all the craziness that's happened over the last year and a half and the last 20 years, my position has always been, this is America, and we have people in this sport from all over the world. You can say and believe whatever you want. It's up to you. We had everything from Colby Covington, coming in with Junior's book and, doing all this stuff, to Woodley coming into the press conference and saying nothing but Black Lives Matter. These are all grown men that can make their own decisions, and grown women that can make their own decisions, their own choices, whatever religion you are, whatever country you come from, whatever, that's the way it's supposed to be, I believe. And that's the way it will be until the day I leave.
Thanks.
Dana, you said earlier this week that it's looking like Nick Diaz is going to fight again this year. And with Nate saying that he wants to turn back around and fight in a couple months, is it possible that we get a double Diaz card?
I don't know. I don't know what Nate wants to do after this. What did he say he wants to fight? Is that what you said?
Yep.
I don't know. I don't know. Anything is possible.
And then with the 5 rounds with Leon and Nate, is it will we be seeing more of those if it's a really good fight in a co-main event and you want 5 rounds? Screw it.
I guarantee you everybody in this room has watched a badass fight and said, God, I wish this was 5 rounds. There's been so many of these fights that I wish we can't keep doing that. I mean, we just can't.
Do you cherry pick?
Huh?
Do you cherry pick the fight?
Not cherry pick. I mean, Diaz really wanted to do it. So we sat in that room that I talk about that will be in on Tuesday, and we decided that we would do it, I don't want to make a habit of it. Co-main, main event, if it's, the championship, and all main events are five rounds. But yeah, we can make those decisions sometimes. I'm not saying we will, but we can.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dana, right here.
Yep.
We're minutes away from Ryzen's big Tokyo Dome show going down, and you met up with Sakibara recently, and they featured your conversation a little bit in some preview packages, and he's been consistently interested in coming to America again. Just curious if you would ever help or work with him a little bit to make that happen.
Is Sakibara you're talking about? I like Sakibara. I always did, even when we were really hardcore competitors. He was a fun guy to compete with, and I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying that I would, but I'm not saying that I wouldn't either. At the time when we competed, when Pride and UFC were both first coming up, it was just such a different time in the sport, and I don't know.
Fair enough. And I want to springboard off of something you said in a recent interview where you corrected us with corrected the comment that you made about the healthcare stuff. And just curious if have you entertained it at least, anything like that?
Would I entertain what?
Fighter healthcare.
Oh, yeah. What's the question? Would I consider it?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Listen, we're working on stuff like that all the time. We're working on. This brain stuff. We've been spending millions and millions of dollars on brain studies for years, and now all the psychedelic stuff is happening. So we're trying to figure out, a lot of guys are interested in that from what we think. We think a lot of guys are interested. So, we're looking into that. We're always looking into making things better, safer, and whatever for the fighters. I mean, I don't know about health care forever. I mean, does anybody have a job where they get health care forever when they leave? I mean, that's pretty fucking crazy, but let's all go work there. I don't think anybody does it.
And last thing for me, Dana, in regards to the welterweight title fight, looking at that rematch with Colby and Kamaru, are you thinking maybe by the time to do that, it would be like UFC 266 maybe, where another 3 title fight card, essentially, just because of how things are lining up. Could we see another 3 title fight card this year?
I don't know. Yeah, all this stuff depends on timing. And we came out the gates quick with full capacity in arenas, and we just started booking these fights. And I don't know. I mean, I can't even tell you what's going to happen in 3 or 4 months with other states and other arenas. And, you know, we're going to be back at Fight Island and the Apex when the cold weather comes. I don't know the answers to any of these questions, but I'm ready for it. I'm ready for all of it now.
Thanks, Dana.
Thanks.
Hey, Dana.
Hey.
Former Mexican.
What's that?
Former Mexican.
Former?
Former Mexican. So.
You say former?
Yeah, I just say that.
How the hell does that work?
American now.
You used to be, but now you're not?
He's an American. So, making the point now is, seems to me that you had the right mix for formers and newcomers and Mexicans along the way. There's another places like Chicago who would love to see UFC. And there's then my generation, then my son, his generation, who follow UFC because daddy likes UFC.
Yep.
So maybe that's probably something that we would like to pursue.
I'm not sure what your question was, but I agree with you 100%. You know, when I was a kid, all of my uncles were big boxing fans and used to watch the big fights at the house. And there was just this energy and a buzz in my house that wasn't there for anything else. Could be any other type of sport. And that's how I believe I fell in love with fighting. And yes, I meet people all the time. Lorenzo and I used to talk about this all the time, about, you know, these generations that would grow up with their parents with it on TV and now with it on ESPN and all the television deals that we have. This younger generation is being exposed to more UFC than ever before. And I agree with you. And what I think you asked me was, you know, I know you said something about Chicago.
Yep.
Coming to Chicago?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I love coming to Chicago. As soon as Chicago opens up, is Chicago 100% yet?
I don't know. Is it?
In like 15 days.
15 days.
18 days?
1-5.
15 days? Well, that seems to be the story around the country. So if these places really open up, some are saying they are, but they're not, you know, it's not what I'm looking for exactly yet. We will start going to all these cities. And I love the city of Chicago and the food. So, yes.
Thank you. You got the question perfectly, and congratulations on this event. We Arizonians love it.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Did you talk to Paulo Costa after his statement? How's your relationship with him right now?
Our relationship is fine. I mean, listen, he said some nutty shit, and I straightened it out. That's how I look at it.
Do you have any idea what's next for him?
Do I have any idea what?
What's next for him?
Sounds like nothing. Sounds like he's going to sit out and hang out for a while, and I don't know what, you know. He said, you know, I want to be paid more because of what all these YouTube stars are making. Apparently he didn't see his last fight. Thank you.
I got one. I got one over here. Hey, Dana. When you strip away all the lights and the cameras and the promotional bullshit that everybody goes through and they see, is Adesanya one of the most complete mixed martial artists you've ever seen?
What was the question? Yeah, no, he's unbelievable. And like I said, as of late in his last few fights, his wrestling defense, his takedown defense, his ability to get up from the bottom. Tonight he was in that rear naked choke. That was damn close to going in, and he spins around and gets the top position and gets out of that. I mean, he looked as good as you could possibly look tonight without finishing.
That's it. Thanks.
Thank you. Go ahead, sir.
Dana, in Houston, you said that Fight Night gates aren't even figured into this year's budget. But with Vegas opening up, and is there any chance that after UFC 264 you could bring Fight Nights to like a casino or some other venue that would allow fan attendance? Is there any chance that you could bring Fight Nights to a casino or some other venue in Vegas that would allow fan attendance after UFC 264?
Oh, in Vegas?
Yes.
You know, I talked about this. You know, we went through this at the office, and it just makes more sense for us right now to. I'm going to ride the rest of the year out at the Apex for fight nights. I mean, if everything opens, well, I don't know. The answer is yes. I'm looking at just doing the Apex. If things go the other way much faster than it seems like they're gonna, maybe I would travel some of the fight nights. But as of right now, I'm not planning on it. It's much easier to stay home and do what we're doing now. I'm not saying it's the right thing to do. I keep telling you guys, I look at the Apex like these people who are still sitting home wearing like a nice shirt and no pants and doing Zoom calls all day. That's what the Apex is like for us. We do need to get back out there and start going to these doing fight nights in different arenas. But I'm cool right now with doing them at the Apex for the rest of the year. There he is. There he is. You next? Let me get out of here and let him come in and have a great night. Thanks, everybody.